Did you know that over 235,000 Canadians experience homelessness every single year? And that number has surged to record highs in 2025? Some of Canada's most beautiful, world-famous cities, places people once dreamed of living, are now the hardest places to find a home. Families sleeping in cars, professionals living in shelters, and entire parks turning into tent cities. This isn't the Canada many imagine. What happened to the land of opportunity? Why are so many losing the very roof over their heads? In this video, we're uncovering the 10 Canadian cities hit hardest by the homelessness crisis in 2025, and the surprising reasons why these communities are struggling to hold on. Stay with me, the truth might shock you. Number 1. Across Canada, in 2025, homelessness has reached levels the country has never seen before, not just in major cities, but in small towns and suburbs too. The reasons are complex but painfully clear. Rents have skyrocketed while vacancy rates have dropped to historic lows, leaving even full-time workers unable to afford a place to live. Inflation, still echoing from the post-pandemic years, has pushed the cost of groceries, utilities, and daily essentials to record highs. Meanwhile, job insecurity and stagnant wages have widened the gap between income and housing costs, pushing more Canadians toward the edge. On top of that, a growing influx of migrants and international students has intensified demand, exposing deep cracks in Canada's housing and social policies. But this crisis isn't only about economics. It's about mental health, addiction, and social neglect. Services meant to help vulnerable populations are stretched beyond capacity, with many shelters turning people away every night. For those battling trauma, illness, or recovery, the lack of stable housing becomes an endless cycle that's almost impossible to escape. What's most alarming, though, is how the face of homelessness has changed. It's no longer just those struggling with addiction or chronic poverty. It's working adults sleeping in their cars, families couch surfing with relatives, and seniors choosing between rent and medication. Entire generations now teeter between survival and despair. This isn't just about missing roofs or crowded shelters. It's about human dignity, the basic right to feel safe, seen, and settled in one's own community. Behind every statistic is a story of someone who once had a stable life, now fighting to reclaim it. And in cities across the country, those stories are multiplying faster than anyone ever imagined. Number 2. Let's begin our countdown with the 10 Canadian cities facing the worst homelessness crisis in 2025, a list that reveals just how deep this issue runs across the country. At number 10, Halifax, Nova Scotia. Once known for its charm and coastal calm, Halifax is now battling a surge in visible homelessness. Rents have spiked nearly 30% in the past 2 years, and shelters are packed beyond capacity. Public parks have turned into semi-permanent tent communities, forcing city officials to make heartbreaking choices between safety and compassion. Number 9. Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. The harsh prairie winters make life on the streets brutally dangerous, yet hundreds have no other option. Indigenous communities, already facing systemic inequality, are disproportionately affected. Limited long-term housing programs mean many cycle through temporary shelters with no clear path forward. At number 8, Winnipeg, Manitoba. The city's core struggles with poverty, addiction, and underfunded mental health services. Charities and outreach programs are overwhelmed, often running out of food and supplies before the month ends. The human toll here is visible. Families trying to stay together amid freezing nights and failing infrastructure. Number 7. Hamilton, Ontario. Once an industrial success story, Hamilton is now feeling the ripple effects of Toronto's housing bubble. Rising rents have displaced thousands, and shelter wait lists grow by the week. Local debates over sanctioned encampments highlight a city searching for empathy in policy. And at number 6, Victoria, British Columbia. Its mild weather has drawn more people seeking refuge outdoors, but the high cost of living has pushed even working residents into homelessness. Encampments line public spaces near the waterfront, painting a stark contrast between postcard beauty and painful reality. These are just the beginning, and as we move up the list, the crisis only deepens. Number 3. At number 10, we begin in Halifax, Nova Scotia, a city once known for its peaceful harbor views and friendly charm. Today, that image is overshadowed by a growing crisis. Rents have soared faster than incomes, and affordable housing is nearly impossible to find. Downtown streets now host rows of tents, some standing for months at a time. A local report in early 2025 revealed that homelessness in Halifax has risen by nearly 32% in just 2 years, leaving shelters scrambling to expand capacity. At number 9, Saskatoon, Saskatchewan faces a different but equally devastating challenge. Its freezing winters make homelessness a matter of survival. Indigenous populations are hit hardest, facing limited access to long-term housing programs and cultural support. With shelters often full, many turn to temporary warming stations just to make it through the night. Number 8. Winnipeg, Manitoba struggles with a growing intersection of poverty, addiction, and mental health issues. The city's downtown area has become a symbol of hardship, where community organizations do everything they can but are constantly stretched thin. Safety concerns rise as more people are forced onto the streets with nowhere else to go. Moving to number 7, Hamilton, Ontario, a city caught in the shadow of Toronto's housing explosion. As rents climb and vacancies vanish, many displaced residents from the GTA end up here, overwhelming the shelter system. Public debate around encampments has divided the community, torn between enforcement and empathy. At number 6, Victoria, British Columbia faces an ironic dilemma. Its mild weather draws people seeking refuge, but its cost of living ranks among the highest in the nation. Tourist areas now double as living spaces for those priced out of the market, creating a painful contrast between postcard beauty and human struggle. And the crisis only worsens from here. Number 4. When you step back and look at all 10 cities together, a clear pattern emerges. This isn't just about geography or climate, it's about a nationwide system under strain. The homelessness crisis sweeping across Canada in 2025 stems from deep, interconnected issues that go far beyond individual circumstances. At its core lies a housing affordability collapse. Rents have outpaced wages in nearly every province, and affordable units have vanished faster than they can be built. Vacancy rates in major cities have dipped below 1%, leaving little room for anyone living paycheck to paycheck. Then there's the disconnect between federal and provincial responsibilities. Funding programs often overlap or stall, while municipalities are left to handle the consequences with limited budgets. Promises of affordable housing are delayed by bureaucracy, zoning conflicts, and profit-driven development models that prioritize luxury condos over accessible homes. In this tug-of-war between governments, it's the people on the ground who fall through the cracks. But housing alone isn't the full story. Mental health and addiction services are overwhelmed, fragmented, and often treated as separate from housing, when in reality they are deeply linked. Without stable shelter, recovery becomes nearly impossible. Without mental health support, stable housing rarely lasts. It's a cycle that no one person or city can fix on their own. These cities aren't failing, our systems are. Canada's economic and social frameworks were never built to handle the combination of inflation, inequality, and rapid urban growth we see today. Behind every tent or encampment lies a reflection of policies that couldn't keep up with reality. And as the crisis deepens, it challenges not just how we manage housing, but how we define community, compassion, and the shared responsibility of a nation. Number 5. Amid the growing darkness of Canada's homelessness crisis, there are glimmers of hope and innovation, signs that change is possible when compassion meets creativity. Across the country, communities are stepping up with solutions that challenge the old way of doing things. In Calgary, a city long defined by economic ups and downs, new tiny home villages are providing stable, affordable housing for people who have been living on the streets for years. Each unit offers safety, dignity, and a renewed sense of belonging, proof that small spaces can hold enormous potential for rebuilding lives. Meanwhile, Vancouver has taken bold steps with its modular housing projects, rapidly assembling pre-built units that can be moved and expanded as needed. These homes aren't just shelters, they're thoughtfully designed, fully equipped living spaces that give residents privacy and permanence. In a city where affordability feels like a distant dream, these modular communities are offering a lifeline that works faster and costs less than traditional developments. In Winnipeg, some of the most promising work is being led by Indigenous organizations, reclaiming cultural approaches to housing and healing. These programs go beyond bricks and mortar. They restore identity, connection, and community. By blending traditional knowledge with modern support systems, they're tackling homelessness at its emotional and spiritual roots, not just its physical symptoms. Across Canada, nonprofits, faith groups, and volunteers continue to fill the gaps where government programs fall short. From community-led food programs to Housing First initiatives, these efforts remind us that solutions are already here. They just need scale, compassion, and consistency. The path forward may be long, but it's clear. When empathy drives policy, progress follows. Each small step, each key handed to a new resident, is a quiet act of defiance against hopelessness and a powerful reminder that this crisis can, in fact, be changed. Number 6. If this video opened your eyes, don't just scroll past. Awareness is the first step toward real change. Homelessness isn't a distant problem. It's happening in our neighborhoods, near our schools, and on the streets we walk every day. The more we talk about it, the harder it becomes for society to ignore. Every city mentioned in this video tells a different story, but the message is the same. No one should have to fight for the simple right to have a place to call home. Whether it's the tent-lined parks of Halifax, the frozen sidewalks of Saskatoon, or the overcrowded shelters of Toronto, each represents a human struggle for safety, belonging, and dignity. These stories deserve to be seen and heard because silence only allows the crisis to grow. By sharing, discussing, and understanding the realities behind the statistics, we remind ourselves that homelessness isn't just about poverty, it's about people. People who once had jobs, families, and dreams, now navigating a system that's left them behind. Awareness may not build a house, but it can build pressure on leaders, on policymakers, and on all of us to act differently. So take a moment to reflect. Which city's story hit you the hardest? Was it a place you visited or one you never expected to see on this list? These aren't just cities on a map. They're reflections of how we value one another as a nation. And if even one story in this video made you stop and think, that pause matters. It's a small ripple in a much bigger wave of change that Canada desperately needs. Because the more we see, the more we care. And the more we care, the closer we get to ending this crisis for good. This video is for educational purposes, with data gathered from the latest municipal and nonprofit reports. Please verify locally for the most current information and ways to help. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Which city's story moved you most and why? Share your thoughts below and then check out our previous video for more eye-opening insights on life and change in Canada. We pour countless hours into creating these stories, so if you found value here, please subscribe. It's just one click, but it helps us keep shining light where it's needed most.